I use back button focusing all the time and love it. But a lot of people ask me, what's the point of using back button focus? Back button focusing is basically where you bring the autofocusing off the shutter button and assign it to a button on the back of the camera. Hence the name. So it splits up the task of getting your focus spot on and taking the photo. It took me a while to get used to it, but once I did, I have found some distinct advantages to focusing this way. If you're taking multiple shots of the same thing, it's best to get good focus and then keep that focus plane where it is. Now, when you first get your camera, your shutter button will be linked to focusing. So if you're in this scenario, every time you go to take a photograph, it will try and refocus. And sometimes when the focusing is a little bit tricky, what you'll find is it'll move backwards and forwards or sometimes won't get focus. Now, one way around this is to switch to manual focus after you've got good focus. But if you have back button focusing, you can get good focus by just pressing that button on the back and then take as many photographs as you want. So let's say with macro photography, if you're changing the lighting and blending multiple shots together, this is perfect for this. I'll set the focus exactly where I want it with that back button, and then I can take all the shots that I want, moving the light around that subject. Once I'm done, I can then use the back button again to change focus and then again take as many photos as I want. Another scenario where back button focus is really good is, say if you're shooting sports, you'll probably be in autofocus continuous to track your subject. However, if you then find your subject has stopped, maybe at the end of an event or there is a crash or something like that, you don't want the camera to keep focusing or keep hunting around for every single shot, especially when they're in the same place. So with back button focusing, you can keep the button pressed whilst you're tracking them and whilst they're moving. And then when they stop, you let go of that back button and then keep taking photographs, knowing that the focus won't move or jump around into the background, onto anything in the foreground or anything like that. And then when they start moving again, you just press that back button and hold it again and it'll start tracking them again. Another scenario would be if you want to focus and recompose. So maybe your subject is in the middle and you want to focus on them and then move the camera and recompose. Again, if it was set to your shutter button, you'd focus on them and then you'd have to half press hold it and then take the shot. And if the exposure of that shot changed from that reframing, you'd get a darker or a brighter shot. Whereas if you're using back button focusing, you focus on them by pressing that back button and then you move it to exactly where you want and take as many shots as you want. When I'm on a landscape shoot, I'll get focus with the back button and then check it. And then when I know it's in place, I can once again take as many shots as I want, knowing the focus won't move. Now, it may sound like a small thing, and you might think, well, why not just switch to manual focus when you want to lock that focus into place, or when you don't want the focus to hunt around every time you press the shutter button. But when you're in a critical situation or a high-pressured shoot, you might not have time to do this, or you may miss the moment when you're switching to manual focus. And this is why I love back button focusing. It's so quick, and it means I can focus and then take the shot. And those two things aren't intrinsically linked. They're separated, and I choose when I focus. The camera doesn't choose when it focuses. Now, do you use back button focusing, or is it something you've been thinking about? If it is, let me know in the comments below and let me know how you get on with it. For a playlist of all my home photography projects, click on this next link here. Or if you want some tips in landscape photography, click on this video down here. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for weekly tutorials in photography. I'll see you next time.